Hello and welcome along to another episode of this FM22 story, The Head Coach, with me, Daniel. We're back today for part 109, and we're back following the transfer window closing for the 2 games after the international break. Vallecano, who have started pretty well in the domestic league, and in Feyenoord in our Champions League debut as promised. We've also got injury news, transfer news, mainly on the outs and the negative front, I'm afraid, and a lot more that might see this season go wrong. But overall, we've started pretty well. We're looking fairly happy. So if you're looking forward to see if we can continue our good form on the pitch, please do put a thumbs up on the video. Subscribe down below for daily FM22 content from 2 long-term stories. There's a link to the Hemel Saving the Eye above. The latest season only just started. You can find a link to that one up there. There's also a link to the Twitch channel, the football podcast, and the merchandise store too. You can support the show as a channel member down below by clicking the join button if you wish. But thank you again, as always, for watching as we come back with a lot of negative news off the pitch and good news on it, basically is the way to sum it up. So we're going to start with the transfer news from the last week or so, because transfer deadline day was 11 days ago and there were no ins. However, you can see we've got one player that's agreed to go out. He's not going to be leaving till January, but Devin Wrench at 30 is actually one of the youngsters of the squad, so I don't want to be losing players in their prime. Having said that, as much as, again, like Riddlebecker earlier in the summer, he's very versatile, he's very solid in a number of positions, he's not a game changer. He's not a great player. He's a player who we were hoping we could rely on a bit when the older heads got tired. So maybe an issue for later in the year, but I think actually his greatest need is going to be during the group stages. So given that we're keeping him till the start of January, then I don't really think that's an issue. So Devin Wrench is going to be moving on for 10.75 million. And there was also another out before the end of the transfer window, and that one's annoyed me even more. Because you knew Renato Sanchez was leaving. He did eventually go to Benfica. £3.5 million he went for. But we lost Miguel on deadline day for just £12.5 million to Hamburg. Now, he was one of our up-and-comers. He was 21 years of age. He was good enough for the first team squad. You saw him come on in the first game of the season and get an assist. And he went just 2 or 3 weeks later. I've no idea. I can't work out the rationale behind it. I can't work out the transfer fee because he's worth double the amount already. Like, why on earth would they let him go? Just does not make sense. So Miguel has moved off to Hamburg and we are without one of our few young players who could actually compete in the first team. No other players came in. There is one joining the club when he reaches 18, but Gianpaolo, he's not ready yet, let's put it that way. I don't think he's ever going to be ready, to be brutally honest. But overall, we have to say that's a pretty awful end to the window from our point of view. The one thing I didn't want to lose was solid young players, and that's what we've done, whilst keeping most of the 35-year-olds. So, a little bit frustrating, but it hasn't affected us on the pitch just yet. If we have a look at the schedule, we won 6-0 on the opening day, you saw that live. We had a much tougher task at Valencia, but did the job very professionally. Vinicius Jr. and Juan Foyth with his first goal for the club, making it a largely comfortable night until the late consolation. And then at home to Malaga, very similar to the first game of the season, to be honest. 2 different levels of sides, and Arian Kalantari and Vinicius Jr. I know Altmaier might be the best rated, but those two, they're going to be the stars of the season. You can mark my words on that. The bad news is, look at the Champions League group. Feyenoord hopefully is a winnable game. AEK Athens should be a winnable game, but we've then got, on paper, the best side in Europe in Bayern Munich. Now, we've had a few battles with them that have gone either way with Manchester United, but remember when we visited Germany, we've lost 3-0 both years with them, and our United side was stronger than this Real Madrid one. So I do have concerns about it. We want to get Nagelsmann sacked though, because it'd be a lovely job to have. But if we go and look at their transfer history, they've had a summer where they've just decided to add 2 quality players. They got Amin Ziegler, who rejected us a few weeks earlier. Marina tried to sign him. He rejected us. He's now gone to the German champions. And he also signed Ben O'Sullivan from Gladbach. And if you have a look at him, well, he's 2-footed. He's probably as good as most of our midfielders. Not a bad little squad addition, is it? They did make one big sale, which was De Bast to Chelsea for 46 million. But for now, we want to keep our eyes out on Bayern Munich because they've still got all of their stars and they've added a couple of quality players with it. So that'll be an interesting matchup. We will show at least one of the group games against them. But for now, let's get through to the fixtures because we're at home to Vallecano domestically. And Barcelona, doing their best to do us a favour. They've won the league many, many years in a row. They've always got above 95 points. And look at them now. 1-1 away at Almeria, who, albeit were the third favourites for the title, they're still on 4 points after 4 games. So Barcelona dropping points, offering us a real chance. Sevilla are making it count. They're on 10 after 4. But if we win today, we can be top of the league, maintain our perfect record, and have the best goal difference in the division. So we're going to get through and pick our team. No idea who's fit after the international break and the final game's in 3 days' time. So we're going to have to be quite delicate with the heavy match loads here, especially bearing in mind most of our squad's over 30. Let's get through, though, to the team selection screen. How bad is it going to be? Not bad at all. Maybe most of them have retired from international duty. We have got some injury news to Gabriel Martinelli. Was a bit part player, but these are the weeks where he would have been used. And his stamina's been hit heavily because he's picked up a 2-month injury, a broken collarbone. We will not be seeing him till probably the end of October. So let's get our side picked. We'll be back in a minute to run through it. Hopefully we can get ourselves a comfortable win. I want to focus on the domestic competition this year if we can. So just to give you a flavour of the depth for this squad, we've actually only got 3 players fit outside the starting squad of 18. And that's a very poor backup keeper, the player who's leaving in January, and a player who joined a month ago who isn't good enough. So it really isn't the strongest squad. We haven't got anyone with a heavy match load, so we're going to stick with it as it is. The same 11, we've actually named every game I think so far, but that's going to change this week, and maybe that's where the disruption starts to come. The director of football, though, has offered new contracts, a 2-year deal to Feyenoord, the goalkeeper, who I guess isn't the immediate issue to replace, is he? And there was another one back there as well. I think it was Marcos Antonio. It is 20-35 for him. Slight wage cut as well, which is great. And nice to see his work rate going up at the age of 35. But the bench is a little bit weaker. I've gone for Koulibaly over Wrench, because Wrench can start in virtually any position if we need it. And Koulibaly isn't in the Champions League squad. So that's the priority there. And the youngster Cervantes, who is a good young winger, will get a chance on the bench too. It means the starting 11 is the same as the last episode. Feyenoord in goal, Saelmakers and Regueri the fullbacks with Militao and Juan Foyth, who's done really well at centre-half. We've got Nianzou, Rihar and Marcos Antonio, the midfield 3, and then Altmaier, Vinicius Jr. and Kalantari. The 3 men we're looking to carry this pretty average side into a title race. So let's go and get into it. The first game of the day. The Bernabeu needs to be bouncing both for this one and for our Champions League group stage match. And here we go. Not too many familiar names in that away side, I don't think. Even looking at the bench, there's not too many. So this is going to be a little bit of a surprising one. And I do worry about other teams that have younger sides than us. Will that come back to be a problem? We don't know yet. We've got a few of the lads motivated though as we're into the first half. We're reminded that there's no Gabriel Martinelli in a tunnel interview, as well as the fact that Altmaier's playing his 150th game for the club. So let's get into the first half, see if he can mark it in style. Well, 11 minutes on the clock, we got a free kick with Antonio, and Altmaier almost does mark it in style. Hits the post. It's out for a corner kick from the clearance. But that is one hell of a start, and almost was brilliant for him, as Regueri puts it into the front post, headed away well. Don't know why we needed to see that corner, because literally nothing came from it. 12 minutes gone, Vallecano holding on, Real Madrid the dominant side, as we're back to play out from the back with Feyenoord and Eder Militao. Regueri gives it back to him. We're not in a rush to get forward. And his tactic, to be fair, the Bristol City one almost, does seem to suit this Real Madrid side, particularly with the front 3 being the dominant force, not having a huge amount of quality or legs in midfield, and being a bit more defensive minded at the back, as Vinicius Jr. gets the ball back to Regueri, into Rihar, lovely ball over to Vinicius, he's got 2 in the middle, it's Kalantari and it's Altmaier as well, but it's back to Marcos Antonio. Finds Saelmakers and Antonio and Kalantari. Oh, I love that kid so much. What a player. The flag has not gone up, but we're going to VAR. And normally that means it's going to stand. But those of you who watched yesterday's Hemel video will know I got done by that. Not today though. Absolutely brilliant. Kalantari scores again. He's very close to becoming the legend of the head coach. Is he going to be up there with Pat Nevin by the end of this year? If he does, Real Madrid will have won a title, and that would be very special. As Vinicius goes over to him again, it's basically a one-man team. He was doing it in the Championship, now he's doing it in La Liga. And if he can do it when we play the likes of Barcelona and Atletico, my words. As Vinicius is down, that's a penalty. Surely it's a penalty kick. Didn't get anywhere near the ball. And Kalantari, I think we'll have another chance to score now. VAR are checking. What are we going to get? Penalty awarded. Quarter of the game gone. Kalantari has a chance for a second. The kid is spectacular. What can he do from the spot? Right-footed. Don't let me down now. Keeper went the right way, but that is right in the corner. The perfect penalty. 6 for the season in his 4th game. I just cannot find the words to perfectly sum him up. And it's been a nice calm half since then. 2-0 at the break. Kalantari is the man again. Great assist from Antonio for the first, which we shouldn't forget. And Vinicius deserves a better rating because he won the penalty and he's caused havoc down that side. Altmaier's got it though. He's marking his big appearance in style. He just needs the goal, but it's Vallecano on the attack. Ball into the front post from a free kick. Headed away as far as Nianzou, and look at the break. We leave 2 up and 2 on the edge of the box. It's a big tactic, and it works well because Vinicius is in. Tries to foul him again, Francisco. Didn't get booked for the penalty, and doesn't get anything for that either. Fascinating refereeing. It's into the back post. Altmaier only finds the keeper. Maybe he's feeling the pressure on his big day as Roberto down the right tries to take on the left back. Ruggeri does really well, and Vinicius releases Antonio. There's still lots of technical quality, and Kalantari has got plenty of pace in behind. Antonio in that position is just the perfect producer of assists. And Kalantari, what a finish. Hat-trick hero again. And with 65 minutes gone, we can now rest a few for Tuesday night. And I think you can see from the fitness which 3 it's going to be. Altmaier off. Cervantes, the youngster, will get a run on the right wing. In midfield, we're going to bring on Manuel, who's one of the younger ones anyway. And then the Mazzala, I can either bring on the experienced Koulibaly or one of the youngsters and bring some players up the pitch. But I think I'm going to keep it simple. Koulibaly's on. He can't play in midweek anyway. And at 3-0, this game should be won. So good to give everyone a run out. Well, goal kick for Vallecano, 10 minutes remaining. It's a long one downfield. They actually win the first header this time and chip it in behind to Perez. They're yet to have a shot on target. Might change now. And it's better than that. It's a goal from the skipper. Christian Perez puts it in. And maybe that's a worry for us when we're playing against the top side. No way you can blame Feyenoord for it. But maybe that is the issue. Look at the fatigue legs at the back. When we play against the top sides and we get to 75 minutes, are we going to get away with that? I'm not sure we are. 4 minutes of stoppage time played though. It's 4 wins from 4 games in La Liga. I don't think we can complain at all. Kalantari with another hat-trick. Absolute legend. Back for Feyenoord in a moment. And we are back for the second game. Our first in the Champions League this year. You can see Manchester City flying in their one. PSG getting a victory too. And Bayern will be looking to go big in Greece. So for us, this is a really early indicator. We know we're probably not going to beat Bayern. We know we're probably going to beat the Greeks. We need to beat Feyenoord to get second rather than dropping into the Europa League. Let's go and get through the tactical meeting, see who we've got fit. It's only 3 days since the last game, but they've all made it. Now we've got a choice to make. We play the bottom side on Sunday in La Liga. Then we've got a midweek game too. So I think we are going to have to rotate a bit for those. What we are going to do though on the bench is bring on Wrench for Koulibaly. We mentioned that at the weekend, him not being available. In terms of the rest of the team though, I think we're going to stick same 11 again because that consistency is really helping us. As we've seen in real life in recent weeks, Real Madrid always find a way. Well, 5th game of the season for us now, and these players that aren't in the 11 must be starting to think it's going to be a long year for them because we're picking the same team every week. All of the star players we looked at basically are starting. It's not going to be an easy game and they're going to be a threat on the break, but we should just about be favourites for this. And if we can win by a couple of goals, get it comfortable, and maybe AEK shock Bayern, and hopefully we can finish this with a celebration. Into the first half we go. We're immediately seeing a highlight as Payen, the striker, brings it away. And look at that counter threat we talked about. Nianzou in the anchor role does really well though. Vinicius Jr. gets it forward to Kalantari. And that might be the first chance he's missed all season. What a save it was, by the way. Even with the animation you could see it. But it's 0-0. That's a good sign because both teams got a real threat going forward as Kalantari charges the keeper there. Blocks his clearance off the floor. But they still get out with Valero. You can see how high we're pressing though. We are really trying to get the ball back quick and get on the attack. But if they break free of it, this could be difficult because Jasmines keeps it to Asen Sal. Back to Ulrich, the centre-half. One of those we looked at. Big switcher play. Rodriguez in from the right. This could be a goal. It isn't. It's a good save from Feyenoord. But this could go either way. It's going to be end-to-end on the counter. Or throw on the left-hand side for Feyenoord, again in an attacking position. And you can see, even against this level of opposition, with respect, Feyenoord are a great side. But in the Champions League terms, Real Madrid should be getting through this game. But the moment they look more of a threat, as Foyth heads away to Vinicius Jr., he can change that very quickly. Over the top to Kalantari, pace to Burn, one-on-one. Oh, what's happened to him? He's missed 2 chances. He never does that. 22 minutes gone. Did you just see that? AEK Athens lead Bayern Munich, and we might be getting a favour. Maybe a draw's a great result. Militao on halfway to Nianzou. Back to Militao again, wide to Rigeri and Vinicius and Riha. We're starting to come alive now. Vinicius is in. Shot straight at the keeper. 0-0 here with a quarter gone. But Bayern Munich, shock loss as it stands at the moment. As it's behind to Faranes from Feyenoord. Long kick forward. Pretty aimless in truth, and we're able to play out under very little pressure. Marcus Antonio goes wide to Altmaier. Not seen anything from him so far. Oh my God! That is one of the worst own goals I've ever seen. We had one for Derby in our Twitch saves a few months ago, which became a bit of a clip. But that, I'm sorry, we have to see that again. It's a hopeful ball from Altmaier. It's beaten Kalantari by a mile. And on the volley, it's almost on the half volley. He's passed it back to the keeper, but it's at venomous speed. It's at chest height. It's atrocious. And it is 1-0 to Real Madrid. We probably don't deserve it, but that 33-year-old defender, experienced solid head, has given us an absolute lifeline there, because we weren't looking like scoring, though we are on the front foot now. Will the goal open the game up? Nianzou goes back to Militao. Finds Antonio, edge of the box to Vinicius, turns onto his right, plays in Altmaier. It's a good save, Kovacevic again. Feyenoord on the ropes a little bit here, but you can see why that would affect confidence, as Altmaier goes back to Sailmakers. Big switch of play. Does he want to go for an own goal again? He doesn't, but he loses the header. Vinicius finds Riha and Rigeri. So Militao, we're moving the ball really nicely now. Kalantari's got 2 runners, but goes back to Nianzou. Through to Kalantari again. He's never going to be kept quiet for long, is he? I'd love to know how many games we've managed him and how many games he hasn't scored in. I bet that stat would be shocking. Bayern Munich are back on terms. We expected that. Upamecano got it as we get a free kick into the box. Altmaier flicks on for Foyth. I think he's on. And in the space of 10 minutes from a ridiculous own goal, this game has become very, very comfortable. And now we can think about resting players for the weekend. Goal awarded, 3-0 Real Madrid. It's been a very good last 20 minutes or so as Rigeri puts a corner in. Can we get another one before the break? Militao wide to Rigeri. Chance to take on his man to the back post. Back to Altmaier, who loses out in the air. And Foyth will have to recycle it, almost in a right back area there. Finds Marcos Antonio. Through to Altmaier. What a ball! Riha's shot saved. It deserved a goal. That is a class pass from Altmaier, but we're now seeing a highlight a minute. We're rampant after the early goals. And the own goal has changed this game on its head. I'll take you back to my side, Luton Town, last Monday against Fulham. Good half an hour, letting a goal, and then it fell apart. And that is what's happening to Feyenoord here. Altmaier forces another save. Kovacevic had a very good game despite the 3 goals against him. And it doesn't help when his own players are shooting at him too. But Rigeri's got a corner. Can we finish the half in style? We can't. It's headed away as far as Rodriguez. Holds it up, but there's no one going forward now. They're not putting the same intensity into the attacks. And Martin has to do with it as centre-half to Ulrich. Back to his goalkeeper Kovacevic. Big hoof downfield. Stegman will chase, but Sailmaker's there. And the attack can start for Madrid again. Been a long highlight. Normally leads to something. And Kalantari's one-on-one, so we know what that is. The flag doesn't go up, but VAR will check. He might have got a brace again. Antonio with that same ball. He's so good at it. But the goal is disallowed this time. 3-0. It remains at half-time. Let's get through the dressing room. But tell us to keep it up. If it stays like this in 15 or so, we can rest some of the older players. Well, an hour on the clock. Rigeri's got a throw on the left. And I think we're going to have to rest some of the most valuable assets here. Altmaier seems to struggle for fitness a bit. I'm looking at Vinicius on the left, someone we can't afford to lose. Antonio probably the same in centre mid as well, as Antonio himself gets down the right here. Finds Sailmakers. It's an aggressive challenge, but doesn't win the ball. Sailmakers comes out with it to Antonio. Crosses headed away as far as Stegman. What we don't want to do is concede here, because that might change the plan. Good challenge from Militao. Falls for Stegman on the right, though. He goes down the line. No real pressure on him. Don't think anyone can keep up. To Asensao. Back to the right back, who scored that brilliant own goal. And Stegman. Down the wing he goes. There's a great delivery. Angelo gets on the end of it. Two defenders make the mistake, but Feyenoord saves the day for them. With 64 on the clock, we're going to take off both wingers. We've got good replacements in Cervantes and Neto. Then Manuel will come on for Marcos Antonio. Hopefully it won't affect the game too much, but we may lose some of our attacking threat here. So we've got a corner kick with a quarter of the game to go. Great ball in from Neto. Nihanzu a whisker away from meeting it. Not sure what the defending was there from Militao. Just sort of sits back and lets Payen take it. Finds Asensao and Stegman. And Kozlowski in one-on-one. No pressure on him. Feyenoord does really well, but we have looked vulnerable to the counter-attack in both of these games, despite the convincing scorelines. We've got to defend the corner kick now. Asensao puts it in. Headed away at the front post. Falls for Angelo, though. Back to Martin on the edge of the box. Goes left to Ulrich. Back to Jasmines. There's a man over on the right if he can find him. He does. A great switch to Asensao, but just overcooked. Goal kick Real Madrid. 20 minutes left to survive. And we're back with another Feyenoord attack 4 minutes later. Kozlowski gets it. Angelo crosses. Look at that from Feyenoord. Caught the ball and threw it out in the same motion to get us on the counter. Rihar plays over to Kalantari, and it doesn't matter if the whole back four's back marking him. He'll produce something. This time he lays it into Neto. He goes right, finds the sub Cervantes. The youngster getting a go on the right wing. Gets the cross into the box. It's a good one as well. Manuel just loses out there as Kozlowski brings it away. It's a good end-to-end game. And if it wasn't for that own goal, it would have been close. But at the moment, Feyenoord doing a hanging-on job. They just want a consolation, help the goal difference. Haven't had an update from Bayern for a while. We'll have to see what the score is there. As Feyenoord playing some good football at the back. Up to Stegman, who's on the right now. To Payen. Wide to Angelo on the left. Got Payen inside of him. There's 5 up here. That's a cracking strike. Hits the post. It can't be stopped from Feyenoord on the way out. And now we're going to have a VAR check because Kozlowski was running forwards and I'm not sure if he's on. He is. Goal awarded. 3-1. Similar pattern to the last game. Well, what we expected has happened because Bayern are now 4-1 up away in Greece as Neto releases Kalantari. Can we match the scoreline? We can't. Kovacevic. What a performance from the Feyenoord keeper. We're in the final minutes of 3 added on. And it looks like it's going to be a battle for the top of the group between Bayern and Madrid, which probably means I've got to show you those two games as Militao's header is tipped wide again. This keeper has been outstanding. If this wasn't a head coach save where the director of football made the transfer decisions, I'd be having a look at him because we haven't got a good backup keeper and Feyenoord is 35. Throwing for Real Madrid on the left, the final whistle should go any second. It does. It's a comfortable 3-1 win. It's deserved at the end of the day. But what a performance from him. What a performance Real Madrid. And this is turning into, despite not playing any super sides, a very good start to the season. Well, let's have a look when we're going to be back. We've done the sort of early introductions now. From this point forward, I want it to be big episodes all the way. And we're quite lucky because the Bayern game in a few weeks' time is followed by Sevilla, who are currently, I think, still second in the league. They are. And then Almeria, who were the third favourites for the title, are the game immediately after the second Bayern game. So there are some big ones to come. There's then Feyenoord and Barcelona, or Barcelona in the Super Cup. We'll decide which as we go along. Next up though, Bayern and Sevilla. If you're looking forward to that and you did enjoy this episode, please do put a thumbs up on the video. We seem to have a little bit of defensive frailty against the better sides, but overall, this has been a stunning start. And if Barcelona keep dropping points, I think we could have a very exciting title race. If you're looking forward to finding out though, subscribe down below and turn that notification bell on for daily FM22 content. We'll be back in our One Club story tomorrow where we are embarking on our very first European adventure in that save. Of course, you can find a link to the latest season in the eye above, as well as the Twitch channel, the football podcast and the merchandise store too. But a massive thank you for your support as always. It is greatly appreciated. And I'll see you back here in the Head Coach in a couple of days' time as we face Bayern Munich, the best side in Europe on paper in the Champions League.